Fawaz Gerges, ISIS, A History. Dive into the riveting story of ISIS, its shocking rise to power, and the impact it continues to have on the world in ISIS, A History. Author Fawaz Gerges delves into the ideological roots, strategies, and key events that contributed to this infamous group's meteoric ascent. This book's summary explores how ISIS capitalized on political turmoil and exploited sectarian divisions in the Middle East, while highlighting the conditions that led to its formation and growth. Understand the crucial differences and rivalries between ISIS and al-Qaeda, and grasp the chilling tactics employed by ISIS, such as sexual slavery and public executions. Fawaz Gerges offers vital insights into the ISIS phenomenon, painting a comprehensive picture of the group's motivations, objectives, and eventual decline.
The rise and decline of ISIS. In 2013 and 2014, ISIS surprised the world by taking on the Iraqi military and seizing Mosul. Despite facing relentless attacks by the US-led coalition and other local forces, ISIS showed resilience, creativity, and organizational depth. By 2016, however, its caliphate was in decline, losing territories, key figures, and financial networks. Thousands of fighters were killed in battles, and the flow of foreign fighters slowed down. Yet, ISIS's influence lives on through cross-border networks, secret strongholds, and sleeper cells in Yemen, Egypt, and elsewhere. Even though its ideology turns potential allies into enemies, ISIS's adherents remain determined to continue their fight. While ultimately doomed to self-destruct, ISIS's activities will continue to impose a heavy toll on the world. Understanding ISIS and its raison d'être. ISIS' emergence was a reaction to broken politics in the Middle East and the Sunni-Shia rift. Unlike al-Qaeda, which targeted the West, ISIS sees Shia Muslims as its true foe. It also aimed at governing a state, unlike its predecessor. By perfecting anti-Shia and anti-Iranian rhetoric, ISIS seeks to unite Muslims under a pan-Sunni identity, appealing to those who believe their faith is threatened. ISIS has expanded from a small group of radicals to one of the most prominent organizations waging global jihad. Although it gained notoriety for targeting Western locations, its true aim is to destabilize the Middle East further. The roots and tactics of ISIS. ISIS was born in Iraq, where its extremist beliefs' rise was fueled by the country's decades-long brutal regime and the post-US invasion instability. The group then moved into Syria, where Raqqa served as its capital and primary revenue source derived from oil, agriculture, and taxation. ISIS's ideology grew on the basis of Salafi jihadism, hypersunnism, and hatred for the Shia population. This led to ISIS's fierce rivalry with the Nusra Front, even though both groups share similar ideologies. Despite their differences, they both resort to brutal tactics and violence in their pursuit of power. ISIS' use of sexual violence and recruitment tactics. ISIS not only uses sexual violence as a weapon of war but also employs it as a tool to recruit individuals into their organization. The group favors young boys and girls, who are the most highly valued in their system of slavery, while adult women are considered the least valuable. ISIS presents a utopian and political project to appeal to poor, directionless Sunni men, offering them a path to salvation by rebuilding the lost caliphate. Despite losing territory in Syria, the organization still attracts new recruits, partly due to the reluctance of the US and Britain to deploy ground troops. Thus, ISIS is likely to maintain some presence for years to come. Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, the making of a radical leader. Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, born Ahmad Fadil al-Nazil al-Khalili in 1966, was a crucial figure in the development of ISIS. Zarqawi grew up poor, and after his father's death, he quit school and later went to prison on charges of sexual assault and drug possession. In prison, he found faith and ultimately memorized the Quran to deal with the stress of solitary confinement and torture by Jordanian authorities. After his release, he set up a jihadist training camp and swore allegiance to bin Laden but had a more radical vision of Salafi jihadism. The dysfunctional political system in Iraq after the US-led invasion and occupation and the exclusionary policies of Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki were driving forces behind ISIS's resurgence. Baghdadi, another radicalized leader, became fixated on vengeance during his imprisonment in Camp Bucca and became more radical after his release, eventually enlisting in Zarqawi's Islamic State of Iraq. Both men followed the script of entering prison as marginally radical and exiting as hardened terrorists. The rise of ISIS in Iraq. The rise of ISIS in Iraq was fueled by the mistakes of al-Qaeda and the government in Baghdad. Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki neglected to integrate Sunnis into Iraqi society in politics, thus playing into ISIS's hands. Maliki cracked down on peaceful Sunni protests, leading to a campaign of executions, imprisonments, and rape of Sunni women. Further, Maliki sided with Bashar al-Assad in the Syrian civil war. By 2013, ISIS had become a major force in Iraq, responsible for 20 deadly attacks and 8 prison escapes. ISIS initially seemed ready to work with existing leadership in Fallujah. Still, once it won the cooperation of Sunni clerics, tribal leaders, and jihadists, ISIS embarked on a fatal purge of its former allies. ISIS repeated the same pattern in Syria, sweet-talking communities and then kidnapping and killing journalists, dissidents, students, and anyone else who posed a threat. ISIS had a clear disdain for arbitration or compromise, even with Sunni Islamist rivals like Jabhat al-Nusra. The rise and fall of ISIS in Syria. In the wake of the Arab Spring, Syria became a battlefield of chaos, with ISIS finding ample opportunity to exploit the disaffected Sunnis. As it solidified its foothold in the country, ISIS employed a range of tactics designed to show that its caliphate was in charge, with public execution being one of the most prominent. Its military prowess was backed by funding from the country's oil fields, attracting many anti-Assad groups. The perception of ISIS as the winning horse led to its consolidation of power, though overextension ultimately led to its fall. While ISIS has had impressive success on the battlefield, its political and strategic short-sightedness seems to have caught up with it. In the long term, things do not seem to bode well for this group. ISIS's ideology, a key to their resilience and appeal. ISIS's resilience and appeal can be attributed to its adeptness in both conventional and guerrilla warfare as well as their ability to project and maintain their ideological vision. Their propaganda claims that their mission is a holy one and that they seek to impose an ultra-conservative version of Sharia. Any dissenter is considered guilty of apostasy, which is a capital offense. ISIS has found fertile recruiting ground not only in poor, rural areas of the Middle East but also among alienated young Muslims in Europe. Their messaging is well tuned to their core audience, promising the chance to restore Islamic unity and bring about salvation. To cut ISIS off from their sustaining force, new strategies are needed to support the construction of legitimate state institutions governed by rule of law that offer people hope.
As we conclude our journey through ISIS, a history, it is evident that the extremist group thrives in the chaos of the post-Arab Spring Middle East, fueled by ongoing civil wars and sectarian tensions. While their brutal tactics and uncompromising ideology will ultimately lead to their self-destruction, the impact of their activities will continue to be felt worldwide. To effectively counter and undermine ISIS, Arab states and their global partners must unite to build legitimate institutions governed by the rule of law, reconcile conflicting ethnic and religious groups, and revitalize devastated economies and social sectors. Only then can we hope to dismantle the group and put an end to their reign of terror.